Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 17 of Radio Free Filler. For this show, we have something really special for you. It's an appearance by a new guest who we've been trying to line up for weeks ever since we first heard about him. He'll be appearing here on our show for the first time anywhere, and we're really thrilled to have him. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce you all to...
Hey, boss.
Yes, what is it?
I got some bad news.
Can't it wait till after the show?
It's about the show.
Uh-oh, what is it?
The special guest can't make it.
You can't be serious.
Hey, I'm a scrounging agent. I can't be anything but serious.
So what's the problem?
Our guest is stuck in quarantine.
Isn't there any kind of workaround?
Well, yeah, but you're not going to like it.
What's the matter? Couldn't he make a remote appearance?
Kinda, sorta. He says he can make a phone call.
A phone call? Couldn't we at least get a video conference?
He says a phone call is all he can do.
Well, I guess we'll have to go with that. It's still too great an opportunity to pass up.
Okay, I'll get the tech guy to hook it up.
Well, folks, that's the way things go in these uncertain times. We do the best we can to entertain you, but some things are just beyond anyone's control. Still, all is not lost. In just a few more seconds, we'll deliver that special interview, and I'm sure you'll find it will be worth the wait. Are we ready? Okay, our tech guy says we're ready, so here we go. I now take very great pleasure in introducing you to our very special guest, an actual talking dog. Hello?
Hello?
Can you put the talking dog on, please?
This is the talking dog.
Really?
Really.
But you sound so normal.
Of course. I've been practicing for a long time.
This is hard to believe.
I'll admit to being just a little offended by that remark. Have you ever known a dog to lie to you before?
Well, no.
Then what is your basis for doubting me now?
I'm sorry. I guess I didn't expect you to be so articulate.
That's the way it goes with you humans. You say you want something, like a talking dog, for example. But then, when you actually get it, you're suddenly skeptical.
I guess some people are never satisfied.
I think all people are never satisfied.
That's a little unfair.
Is it really? What about all those times you tell us to fetch the stick? Fetch the stick, Rover. Okay, so here's the stick. Go fetch the stick again, Rover. Okay, now try to hang on to it this time. Go fetch the stick again, Rover. Okay, but this is getting to be a bit much. Go fetch the stick again, Rover. Okay, but you're the one with the money. Why don't you just go buy yourself a stick? Go fetch the stick again, Rover. Nothing doing. I'm going to pretend I have to go scratch myself.
So I guess you'd be happier if we all followed the example of Diogenes?
Don't patronize me.
What do you mean?
You're trying to test me to see if I know about Diogenes, the original cynic. Well, I'll humor you by reciting a summary about that old human philosopher. The word cynic is derived from the Greek word for dog-like. and Diogenes believed that the world would be better if human beings behaved more like dogs. He maintained that the lifestyle of humans was hypocritical and artificial, citing their fussiness about eating, sleeping, and performing other bodily functions. Are you satisfied?
You certainly have an impressive knowledge about Diogenes, but I'd really like to know, would you prefer that humans followed his example?
Don't be silly. Of course not.
I don't get it.
Why would any self-respecting dog want a bunch of humans stealing their act? It would be like an invasion of our territory, and you should at least know how we feel about that.
You argue quite convincingly, and you're obviously very clever, but I can't help wondering why you're limited to appearing via telephone.
Have you ever tried to operate internet devices with paws?
I hadn't thought of that.
Well, you should start thinking about things like that.
You know, a lot of our listeners are going to have trouble believing that you're a real talking dog.
You know, I have absolutely zero interest in what a lot of humans do or do not believe.
I guess you have that in common with Diogenes.
Wrong again.
How so?
Diogenes had that in common with me.
I guess you're right.
I guess we're done.
But wait, before you go...
Sorry, but I have to go scratch myself.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let's carry on with the song now.
I've got dog spit on my spectacles, and it's put me in a doggerel kind of frame of mind. And if these lyrics aren't respectable, it's all because of the plot the dog's behind. There's no one I can blame beside myself now. I shouldn't have gotten down so near the floor, but at least I've learned my lesson, for I know now the reason that nobody's writing this kind of song anymore.
Whatever you do, whatever you say, I'm going to tell you anyway.
I've got dog spit on my spectacles, and it's put me in a doggerel kind of frame of mind. And if these lyrics aren't respectable, it's all because of the plot the dog's behind. Oh, this particular dog was just a friendly type, and he's legally liable for the lick my lenses got. So I took out my handkerchief and gave my specs a wipe, but now it's perfectly clear I must have missed a spot.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, there's something I'm going to say to you.
I've got dog spit on my spectacles, and it's put me in a doggerel kind of frame of mind. And if these lyrics aren't respectable, it's all because of the plot the dog's behind. So here I've gotten to the final verse now, the point that separates the dogs from men. But at the risk of sounding quite perverse now, I think I'll go and visit the dog again.
The song goes on, it never can stop, unless someone threatens to call a cop.
Young man, you had better stop right now, or I really will call a policeman.
Why? What's the matter?
You're wasting valuable airtime with a lot of foolishness while ignoring the great menace that looms before us.
The Great Menace?
The Great Menace.
If you're referring to the COVID-19 menace, then all this foolishness is actually intended to give everyone a break from worrying about the Great Menace. That's the whole idea, the relief part of comic relief.
That's not the Great Menace I'm referring to.
Oh? Then what is this other Great Menace?
You know perfectly well what Great Menace I mean.
I'm afraid I really don't.
Must I spell it out for you?
Well, yes, please, if it's not too much trouble.
Very well. The correct spelling is as follows. Radion
Radion what?
There's a space between the O and the N.
Radio nudity?
Hush! There's no need to come right out and say it on the air.
Sorry, I hadn't thought of that.
Well, you should start thinking about things like that.
You know, that's just what the talking dog said.
I have absolutely zero interest in what some talking dog said.
You know, that's also a lot like what the talking dog said.
Young man, don't be impertinent. I am here to warn the public against this great menace, and I will not tolerate any further distractions.
I'm sorry, but I don't see the problem.
You don't acknowledge the problem with such obscenity?
I acknowledge it, but I don't see it. This is radio.
That makes it worse.
In what way?
The unlimited capacity of the human imagination.
But we try to run a family show here.
Families are the absolute worst.
So what's wrong with families?
The way they get started.
Okay, I concede your point there, but what can we do about it?
Be vigilant. Very vigilant.
All right, I will. I hereby promise that if I ever see any new...
Watch yourself there.
Okay, if I ever see any of that great menace on radio, I'll be sure to report it to you.
See that you do.
I guess I should mention that this last special message came to you through the courtesy of Poppy Purselips, professional prude. Come to think of it, I guess I just did, so that takes care of that.